Pranam everyone. Welcome to day 13 of the book The Absolute Law of Karma, written by our Param Pujya Gurudev Pandit Sri Ram Sharma Acharya. Till now we have discussed 2 out of the 3 types of sufferings, which is the mental sufferings, the Devik Dukhs, and the physical sufferings, the Daihik Dukhs. Today we will discuss the 3rd suffering, which is suffering resulting from natural calamities, which is known as Bhautik Dukhs. These are the sufferings that one has no control on, but are still somehow related directly with the karmas of a person or as a community. Of late, science has begun to appreciate the impact of lopsided human activities on pervasive global life-sustaining elements of nature. Indiscriminate use of chlorofluorocarbons by some developing countries is damaging the global atmosphere for entire humankind by producing the greenhouse effect. Reckless deforestation in certain parts of the world is creating worldwide ecological imbalances. Such examples illustrate that basic elements of nature are globally interdependent and local changes in them have universal implications. The following observations bring out this eternal truth. Here Gurudev is trying to tell us that we cannot live just in silos as one country. We must remember that massive deforestation in one part of the world will bring absolute tremendously adverse effects in another part. Because after all, we are one planet, we are one earth, we are one mankind, we are one nature. And man has always lived as one with nature until probably the last 100 years, when there has been exponential industrialization and so many changes that due to CFC gases, which is the chlorofluorocarbon gas emissions that have exponentially increased, are causing the greenhouse effect, which is they are eating away the ozone layer of the atmosphere that actually protects the earth. And due to this increase in greenhouse gases, it has made the atmosphere of the earth much more warmer because it traps the sun's rays or the sun's heat inside the earth's atmosphere due to the increase in quantity of these gases, which are actually pollutants. Pran, the universal life force, is one of the vital elements of nature, which is an integral constituent of all animate beings. The entire human race is interconnected with this all-pervasive element. Each spark of life in the individual animate being, which is known as Atma in spiritual parlance, is part of the omnipresence of that universal life force, which is known as Pran Shakti. So here Gurudev is again emphasizing on the fact that the Pran Shakti, the very vital life force, which is the breath that we take in, is all pervasive, omnipresent, gives life to every animate being on this planet. And that's the most vital element, the most integral constituent that connects every living, breathing species on the earth. The science of spirituality maintains that karmas and sanskars of all living beings are mutually interactive. In social milieu, these reactions are quite prominent. A criminal brings shame to his parents and family as well. The latter too suffer disgrace since disregarding their responsibilities by not performing the right karmas. They did not exert enough influence to make the person a good citizen. The responsibility for spiritual development of the child lies with the parents and other adults of the family, which in itself is a virtuous karma. Hence, though in the material world, only the offender receives the punishment from the law and the society, the souls of the parents and other family members too have to suffer partially for this dereliction of duty, which the divine jurisprudence considers as a sin. So here Gurudev is trying to explain to us that just as in the physical world, when there is a criminal who is punished for conducting a crime or committing a crime, though he is the only one who goes through the suffering of that punishment, but it's also the family members who suffer disgrace mentally for abandoning their duties or committing the good karma of developing the character of their child who eventually became a criminal. And therefore, all of this is connected. This is a collective karma that brought that misery in the family. By not doing the virtuous karma of developing their character, the parents also become a part in the bad karma of the criminal child. And that is reinforced in the spiritual world as well, because the karmas and the sanskars of all living beings are mutually interactive and connected, just like in this example in the social setup. Let's see another example. When the neighbor's house is on fire, you cannot remain a silent spectator, since soon you may also become a victim of that fire. If, in spite of being capable of preventing, one looks on at acts of theft, burglary, rape, murder, etc. indifferently, the society would look down upon such a person contemptuously, and the law would also not spare him. The laws of divine justice too follow the similar social norm, that if we do not condemn the bad karmas of the ones around us or the ones we know of the same family, of the same community, of the same society or the same nation, then we are actually contributing to that bad karma, and it becomes a collective responsibility of the entire society in that bad karma then. Divine law expects man to abide by time-tested moral codes of conduct and also make maximum possible endeavor to prevent others from violating them. That is why it is not just our responsibility to take care of our own conduct, but also make sure we are contributing somehow to the betterment of the society at large and the community as a whole, and preventing others from violating those codes of conduct, from those moral and ethical time-tested codes of conduct. If some country or community or race does not make an effort to prevent or dissociate others from committing wrong deeds, in spite of being in a position to do so, or does not promote morality and ethics despite having the means to do so, the former too has to suffer its consequences. Such collective sins of inactivity or indifference invite combined punishment from divine justice. Earthquakes, deluge, drought, famine, world wars are consequences of collective sins of humanity, in which karmas for vested interests were given priority and welfare of the rest of the humanity was ignored. Examples are the spread of AIDS, swine flu, drug abuse, alcoholism, disintegration of families, juvenile delinquency, terrorism, environmental pollution, etc. The developed countries are suffering consequences of their smug indifference towards the welfare of the underprivileged masses elsewhere. Just like they say that 4% of the people have 94% of the wealth of a nation, we cannot ignore the fact that if those 4% people, it does not mean that those 4% are free to do anything they want in the world, fly anywhere they want, do anything, waste as much food, shop as much they want. That's not how it would work, because After all, it's a collective responsibility of the mankind at large and not the responsibility of some underprivileged people to make sure that the others are being provided for. So be it AIDS, be it terrorism, be it disintegration in families, drugs, environmental crisis, or even the most recent crisis that we saw, which is the spread of COVID-19 virus, was also the result of some sort of collective karma in the astral world. There are many conspiracy theories about whether this virus was deliberately or not deliberately leaked from the Wuhan lab in China. But at the end, when there was lockdown in the entire world, when there was no flights flying around, and when people were locked inside their homes, it was the animals that were having fun. It was the nature that was finally breathing. It was Mother Earth that was finally healing. I even heard news of that the Himalayan ranges were visible from Punjab or from Saharanpur because there was finally, after decades, there was no pollution or no smog clouds in the air. When do you last remember such clear air? So, in the end, it is all about collective responsibility as the whole, as a community, as a nation, as mankind, and not feeding the interests or welfare of few developed countries at the cost of the underprivileged masses elsewhere. Thank you for listening in today. Pranam everyone.
हमारे YouTube चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए और बेल आइकन पर क्लिक कीजिए ताकि आने वाली सभी वीडियो की नोटिफिकेशन आपको मिलती रहे। आप सभी को बहुत बहुत थैंक यू।